hear it a little bit. And we write CTIA and Super Mobility Week. Is it back? Better than ever? Meredith, thank you very much for the warm introduction. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to also congratulate Jeff on his talk. Twilio is an outstanding partner of SAP, so I feel like I'm among friends. And one of the reasons I really am excited today is this concept of running simple. And when I did write the book, The Winner's Dream, which comes out on October 14th, I tried to get back to the essence, the innocence in a certain sense, of what really matters. So as I thought about talking to you today and my story, I want to take you back to this 16-year-old Bill McDermott that started a business in Long Island, New York, a delicatessen business. And there were really a couple of things that mattered. You know, one was you take great care of your people, but you have to have that obsession for the customer that Jeff talked about in his presentation. And for me, I basically had three target markets. You know, one was senior citizens, and you try to do things that none of your competitors do for your customer. So I learned fast that senior citizens would rather have you deliver to their house than come to your store. So we deliver. We had the blue-collar worker that was rich on Friday and broke by Sunday morning. So we gave him credit. And then we had these high school kids. You know, what today we refer to as these Gen Y kids. How do I get them to walk past my biggest competitor an extra block to come to my store? So, you know, you want to learn what your competition is doing, so I go down to the store and I see that there's 40 kids waiting in line and only 4 kids shopping. And I said to the kids online, you know, why is it that they're only letting 4 people in at a time? And they said, well, you know, they probably think we're going to take things. I said, okay, that's fine. And I started to let them in 40 at a time and then put a video game room to draw them to the store. And to underscore the importance of understanding your customer, one of the kids, in a very quiet moment with me, said, hey, Bill, when we want to be treated with respect, have great food, and have a good time with our friends, we come to your store. And when we want to steal stuff, we go to 7-Eleven. So, you know, taking on the role of CEO of SAP in 2010, it was really about staying focused on what truly matters, which is the customer. And it's not just about where the customer is, it's about where the customer's going. So you have to look over the treetops into the future. We knew we were a market leader, but we also knew the world was changing very fast. So enterprise systems in multiple industries on a global basis was our baby. But we had an emerging middle class in the world, you know, 3 billion people coming into the middle class, very global. We had data doubling in the world every 18 months. And we had this whole notion of the millennial workforce. And by 2020, 75% of the workforce will be millennials. So we declared a strategy at that time that we would do the things we're doing really well and continue, but we would go after in-memory computing, that database platform that enables real-time processing of information to connect with that consumer and that employee, the HANA platform. We knew that the consumption model of the future would certainly be the cloud, and we went into the cloud in a really bold way. And then finally, we really believed in mobility, really believed in it. And we wanted to have the unwired platform that would secure business applications for enterprises and enable workers to enjoy their job. So when they left their house on Sunday afternoon, they could have the same experience back again on Monday when they showed up to work. So there it was, you know, a new strategy was born. And then, as I think about this talk today, I look at all the good things that are going on in the enterprise, but it's too complicated. If you ask 90% of the CEOs, they'll tell you complexity is killing their business. About half of them say it's so out of control they can't even rein it in. They don't know how to. So I believe that complexity is the most intractable CEO issue of our time, and we have to deal with it. So when I think about mobility, let's talk a lot about, you know, what happened to us. You know, how did we get into this complicated situation? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've lived in a device-driven world. There's 7 billion devices and a couple of billion PCs, so we know that it's all about mobility. And if you think about the enterprise and dominant providers in the past, it was BlackBerry, Motorola. They were dictating the pace of the enterprise. But then the consumer came into the enterprise with their own device. And all of a sudden, things changed really fast. The consumer took control. And now you're living in a world where, you see the BlackBerries, the Apples, the Androids, etc. But the idea of the individual consumer having choice and really making new calls is obvious, because it was 2009 when Android had about a 10% share of the market, and today it's well over 80%. So as we think about the device and the quick changes that are going on in the device, we have to also think about mobile applications. And this is complex too, because analysts estimate that there will be about $80 billion in mobile applications downloaded when they count it all up between 2013 and 2014. And the world is dematerializing quite quickly, going from atoms to bits. And what you're seeing is in healthcare, social media, transportation, all the industries of the world, they are dematerializing and they're digitizing everything into the mobile app. In fact, they've even done that with flashlights. So things are going away, the mobile app is ruling, consumers have choice, and the enterprise is changing radically. Now, nowhere has the app been more crucial than the enterprise, because we've gone way beyond just Facebook and Candy Crush. We now need to take business relevant applications, put them on a platform, and connect to workers in companies and extended networks that work with companies. A couple of years ago, there was a company by the name of Phillips 66 that was really a thought leader in this regard. They took 2,000 iPhones, connected it to their HR and their procurement people, and started to get much more productive in running their business. But they had one very simple idea at that time, and that was the mobile platform had to be open to scale, and it had to be cooperative with all operating systems. So, devices and applications could deliver simple experiences for the users. That was key. But all this, again, is adding to a very complex situation. So the challenge remains, with billions of devices in the world, how does a business make a device, anywhere, productive and secure? So, the SAP answer is very simple. Embrace consumer choice. It is absolutely clear that the only constant in mobility will be constant change and choice for the consumer. So SAP remains device agnostic, because betting against consumer choice is a fruitless gamble, and businesses will lose if they don't stay open and provide choice for the consumer. That's why our mobile apps, our development procedures, management of all of our mobile services are all run on the SAP HANA platform. So you can be a real-time business on an open mobile platform running business enterprise applications at scale. Now, mobile is clearly mainstream. We know this. There's more people that own devices than traditional phones, and each of those devices has on average 50 applications running on them today. So if you think about it, while choice is one answer, the other for businesses is to enter into this network economy by reimagining new business processes. Because if there's ultimate choice and openness in the platform, and you have all the people that could generate huge value for your company, you have to generate amazing partnerships and an ecosystem that is vibrant around that platform. That's why SAP today is proud to announce a big partnership with Samsung and Ericsson. And in both of those partnerships, you'll see an open platform. You'll see us be very friendly to the device, and you'll see us in a highly secure way protecting enterprises from risk. I would like to tell you how mobile applications and mobile business is transforming things. And I could give you a whole bunch of examples. But frankly, I'm excited to be here, and I thought you would benefit most from a gentleman that I'm happy to call my friend, a guy that is a Hall of Fame professional football player and a well-regarded broadcaster on the NFL Network. And he himself has embraced the concept of the device, real-time instant information, and mobility as a way to gain competitive advantage in the business world. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm welcome for Mr. Marshall Faulk. Marshall, come on out. Marshall, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I start to tell you about my experience with technology and broadcasting, anybody, you guys familiar with, and don't be embarrassed, you're familiar with the NFL, yes? No? How about the NFL draft? Have you ever watched the NFL draft? Just a little quick thing about the draft. I consider that the best reality TV in the world. You get to see kids get drafted, and they go out and play a professional sport and live out their dream. It's real. It's reality. Some careers are great, some careers are not. But I want to talk about the partnership with SAP and the NFL and how technology, for me, working the draft, has just, it changed the draft. First of all, if you've ever seen the draft, you notice they make a pick. Guys are scrambling through a binder that's about the size of an encyclopedia with about 400, 500 guys' names in it. Stats, measurables, all of that different stuff. Well, I thought to myself, when this partnership happened with SAP, what if all of that information was just there for me? What if I wanted to know about a Khalil Mack and I wanted to know his measurables, and I say, oh, okay, yeah, the Raiders just drafted him. What does that mean to me? Now, let's say it means the world to Khalil Mack, but for me to convey to his fans, the fans of the Raiders, what do they need to know about this kid? What do they don't know? They don't know, oh, he has a hand size of 10 1/4. And then what else don't they know? If you go down to the bottom, what else you want to know? Who was drafted, the same pick, similar player? All of that information, I need to convey that information to the viewer. And how do I do that? If I'm looking through a book and I got to get that, I got to get these pages and it's 500 pages, how many guys? How do I convey that to the fan? Do I have enough time? And this is what it's all about. It's all about the amount of time. The draft in the first round, it used to be 15 minutes a pick. Now it's 10 minutes a pick. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that I get FaceTime. And how do you get FaceTime? Making sure you have the information faster. So what this draft tool did for me is it simplified a way for me to provide the information. So when I'm talking to my producer, the pick is made. They're going through their binders. I already hit all. I have Khalil Mack. I know who I have. I know who their pick is. Now I can tell them I have information. I'm ready. They come to me first. This happened in real time at the 2014 draft with this draft tool. It never happens. We always split up who goes first based on the guys that I work with on the desk. 5 times they came to me first because I was like, I have information and I'm ready to go. You can't, if you've ever seen television, to see a host not talking, to see analysts not talking, that's awkward. To have people sitting up on the desk not talking, that's dead TV. You never want dead television. So I'm ready to go 5 times. For me, I'm competing and working with the guys on the desk, but I'm providing the information faster. And that's what the draft tool did for me. Let me just give you let's just go to linebackers, because this is what happens. Say 5 picks later, the Atlanta Falcons are drafting. And the Atlanta Falcons They have a need. We have a list of their needs. Their need with their pick is a linebacker. The guys have to go through the binder and see who the next linebacker is. That's all I had to do was go from all to linebacker to see that CJ Mosley is the next available pick. He's the 11th rated guy. He's the 11th rated guy that we have in our system as the ranks go. What does that do for me? I get FaceTime. I get to put this beautiful face on TV and tell you, the Atlanta Falcons, that CJ Mosley, if you're taking a linebacker, he's your guy. And that's all this is about. This draft tool and making this simple application has helped me to be better at my job at the NFL Network. And that's what technology does. I've embraced it. I used to be one of those guys up there with the binder, flipping through it, trying to find a guy, his measurables. Let me see what is he doing? How does it work? Those things right now, as you see, you scroll up and down the screen, you get to find everything. Let's just say you wanted to see, okay, who last year was a pick? You see on the right side, first round, first pick. Let's go, third pick? You know who the fourth pick, let's go fourth pick. You know who the fourth pick was. I hit this, and you get to see all the guys that were picked as the fourth pick in the first round, and you get to decide, okay, AJ Green, that's a good pick. So now you start to decide what the value of that pick is. So now I can basically talk to the audience about other picks in the prior years that were picked in the same position and the type of production that player provided for his team. So now you know what to expect of that player if you're a fan of that team that's drafting in that position. That's what SAP and the partnership with the NFL and this draft tool has done for me.
That's awesome.
Bill, you guys have made my life simpler.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marshall. Thank you. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Thank you, Marshall. Marshall's story is a powerful one. I also have the great fortune of being on the Under Armour board. Anybody, since we're talking sports, know about Under Armour? Okay, that's a great company. And, you know, there's really a couple of things with mobility in regard to the future of Under Armour. One, you have to know your consumer, you know they're on a device, and you have to operate with that consumer through any channel and make it real easy for them to understand your products and do business with you. The second thing is the technology itself, the apparel itself is now a device. So the device on the athlete is now connected to the cloud, which is operating on the open HANA real-time in-memory data platform to give the athlete instantaneous information on their workout, their performance, their measurements, whether it's against a peer group or against their prior best. So it's all about making the athlete better. And this is made possible by the combination of the mobile, the in-memory real-time database, and just utilizing technology in a smart way. This brings me to the network economy. Devices and apps can take any shape when you're talking about the Internet of Things. We saw yesterday's announcement from Apple. Bracelets or watches now are mobile devices. Beer taps are mobile devices and applications, giving supply and demand information to the manufacturer in real time. Medical devices are now absolutely mobile devices. So you can take high-tech medical equipment, they're connected now in a mobile network, they're already sending out the service call well in advance of the breakdown, and someone's coming with just the tools and skills to fix things. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure right now your refrigerator might be gossiping with your microwave as you're here in Las Vegas. So things are really moving quick. The question is, how do we take all this connectivity and improve people's lives with it? So this is what I believe the answer to be. One great asset we have to simplify is context. Context-aware mobile applications bring the insights of the digital and the physical world together in meaningful and precise ways. Let me give you a couple of examples. Let's think about the airline industry. How many people stuck in delays? And then, by the way, you know, you're waiting for the loudspeaker to tell you where the gate is now moved to. Well, the airplane now can completely mitigate that And because your device is connected to GPS, it knows when you've made the adjustment to the right gate, and it doesn't have to keep telling you to switch gates. When you think about managing the mechanics and the complexity of an airplane, and you think about the billions that are on the line from maintaining these devices and running them the correct way, and to readily maintain them on one hand, but also order parts in a business network where the parts and the tools and the people are there in advance of things going wrong to fix it. We're talking about billions added to the economy, but we're also talking about an improved experience for the passenger. And that's really what it's all about. How do we make things better? This is one example that I find very interesting. You know, cloud and mobility working together, happening across industries, from transportation all the way through to, you know, my favorite topic called sports. But context awareness is only one piece. I want you to think about big data. And I want you to think about the ultimate simplifier of the enterprise, which is called HANA. SAP HANA is the thing that changes everything. Let's pretend, for example, how many of you are in the telco carrier business? Okay, we got some out there. Let's pretend we got 100,000 people in the stands on a Sunday afternoon, since we're on Marshall, Faulk, and football today. You have all the information, but you can't invade people's privacy. But you can, using a smart application from SAP, essentially take all the context, the demographic information, to add to the fan experience, but also to use the insight of that fan and the demographic around that fan for advertisers to completely reinvent new business models. Fan gets a better experience, advertiser places dollars in the right place, and you're adding real value, real context. This is game-changing. I would very much like to give you a real-time example from a topic we're really proud of at SAP. Who saw the World Cup? Pretty exciting year for the World Cup, right? And I actually believe soccer or football is alive and well in that context in America now as well. But what was interesting about this team, this is the German national football team, run by a gentleman that's the GM of the team, Oliver Bierhoff, a former player. He took all the cameras and the sensorization of the Internet of Things, and then armed the sensors on the athlete and the apparel and so on, and connected all that data to the 11 people that are in the pitch. Every 10 minutes, 7 million data impressions were created that had to be instantaneously studied, provisioned to an iPad so the athlete understood what they could do to get better and to comply with their high standards of training, but also in game time. You could study the formations of the competition. So when Germany beat France, for example, they could see that France's forwards weren't getting downfield quickly enough, and they changed their strategy on kicking down longer to get to the goal faster. I was so proud to be in Germany when the German national football team won the National Cup, but I was also really, really proud, the World Cup. I was really proud to realize that HANA was the 12th man in the pitch, bringing together the power of real-time in-memory data with mobile devices and business applications that change the way people perform, making their lives better, and actually changing the entire context of the sport. Because more and more now, we're going to connect that data to the device and the people. And this is really the future of business. It's the future of the world. As I think about ending this with you today, I would just like to finish on a couple of questions. In your businesses, have you fully comprehended the power of in-memory, real-time information connected to the device and the application that will make everything better for your people, your customers, and this robust business network I call the ecosystem to truly transform what you're doing today to create new business models and imagine an entirely new future? I was moved by Marshall Faulk's comments because he created an entirely new future for his job. And having that information gave him competitive advantage that his colleagues just didn't have. So he became the go-to guy. So I say to you today, be the go-to woman, be the go-to guy, and create beautiful experiences for your people, your customers, and your partners, and change the world. Thank you very, very much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. Thank you.